What's going on, Junkie Nation? Gorgeous George and Goes are back with another MMA superstar. This time we get to talk to Miranda Maverick, who's going to be facing Shanna Young at UFC 278. Yeah, it's 278. And it's coming up here on August 20th in Salt Lake City. Welcome, Miranda. How are you?
I'm good, doing great, training hard, and excited for the fight.
Yeah, my mind's on 277 this Saturday. Goes and I are hosting a watch along, and I got a little excited there. You still have a few more weeks before your fight.
Yep.
And, you don't have to convince us all. I know that some stuff went down over the weekend with Meatball Molly, but just let the fans know, of course, the focus is on Miss Young right now.
Yeah.
It's
funny all the
comments. With it, right?
Yeah, it's funny all the comments I get. I'm like, I'm not going to skip some kind of hype train comment and stuff just because I'm training and focused on a fight. I can still talk about other subjects and do whatever I want, but I am focused on Shanna. I've already trained 4 trainings today. I have a 5th tonight. I train about 7 hours a day on average. Like, I'm working my butt off and I'm ready for this fight just like I have been any others.
Thank you, because it does get boring to cover fighters that just tell us they're only focused on this. Even if you ask them, you want to be a champ one day? Hey, I'm only focused. Yeah, we all have dreams. We all have kind of a plan. On January 1st, we write down what we want to do this year or in the next few years. And
That's right.
I thought you did a great thing over the weekend. So do you want to explain that? Was it just you getting caught up in the moment, or did you just have goosebumps watching fights and you wanted to throw something in there, or was it elbow related?
This had been built up months ago, right? I called out Molly when she got in her last spinning elbow finish, and I was like, I want to fight Molly. I did it actually on an MMA Junkie interview, and it got posted on MMA Junkie, where I called her out in a very respectful way. I just got done posting that on my Instagram this morning, where I was like, I think it'd be a good fight between me and Molly. She's got this hype going on, and I do too a little bit, and it'd be a good step up for her. And I think it'd be a good fight. Then Gabriel Gonzalez, I guess, asked her at the press conference, about these fighters like myself calling her out. And she had quite the rambunctious response. I would say half of it was the Howlerhead drink that she had. But the other part, I had people that are like, for you, Kay, that's not that bad. And I'm like, I don't care. It wasn't respectful. So let's go. Let's fight it out. If she wants to fight now, she didn't want to fight me before. She took on an opponent in Hannah Goldie, who, I like Hannah just fine, but she's a strawweight naturally, and she's not even on a winning streak or anything. She's had 3 out of her last 4 fights were losses, and it was just another person to be thrown to Molly so that she could win in front of her home crowd. And I'm ready to derail that fake hype train.
Ooh, man, I'm really, really digging this. Man, I'm going to be really, really watching on October 20th. I know, once again,
August
you're focused on Young, but this is how big fights start brewing. Kind of like Dustin and Chandler the other day at UFC 276, a few words here and there. They had to split them apart, but now it looks like maybe they might sign up to fight each other soon, and that's just the way the sport works.
Yeah, I mean, it's an entertainment industry, right? Nobody wants to just see, oh, they're this rank, they're that rank, they should fight each other. Get the hype built up, get whatever. I've had people that on both sides, that are like, she should get a ranked opponent. And I'm like, she has fought no one to where she deserves a ranked opponent, first of all. 2, the whole thing of you should get a ranked opponent. You don't need to be going back down the rankings. And I'm like, I plan on being in this sport for years to come. I don't need to race my way to the top and then slowly fall back like all these fighters do. I'm ready to take my time and make money by the time I get to the top, instead of blowing it all then and then just staying on these mediocre contracts the whole way through. I am here to be entertaining. I'm here to be a good fighter, not just to make it to the title, although that's the ultimate goal. And every time between fights, I'm improving, and I'm not training for Shanna. I'm not training for Molly. I'm training for whoever holds that belt every single day.
You know how some people drop knowledge? You're spitting knowledge today. I love it. I mean, you are coming correct. Now, I did want to ask you, you've had your first 5 fights, and it's been pretty unique because there was no Dana White Contender Series or tough lead-in. Boom, you were just in Abu Dhabi on a pay-per-view, and this will be, I believe, your 4th pay-per-view, so it's pretty amazing. Although you didn't get treated to many fans in a lot of your fights, so that's starting to change. But after your first 5 fights, how would you like your next set of fights to go? Do you like being part of pay-per-views, or are you gunning for maybe that one that has your name at the top, like a fight night?
Hey, both. You know, I like them both. I like the numbered cards because of the exposure it gets, because of the fans I get to meet. And usually it's a better traveling experience, a better experience with fans. But like you said, I haven't really gotten to experience that myself. The only time that I've even had a crowd was when I fought Aaron Blanchfield. And unfortunately, that night did not go my way. I plan on this one going my way and getting to experience it in full, the media day, the photos, all that stuff, and really get the actual UFC experience. But yeah, it was a little bit different road than everybody else took to get to the UFC. I had several short notice offers given to me. I tried to play it smart. I didn't want some one fight contract where they wanted to feed me to the wolves. My first ever UFC offer was against Antonina Shevchenko back in like 20, I think it was 19, on a 3-day notice. And I was like, not only will I miss weight, they're only offering me a one fight contract and I have 3 days and I just fought last weekend. Like, no. So that was my first ever offer. Then I was supposed to fight Ashley Evans Smith on the Woodley card that got canceled at the beginning of COVID. Then I was supposed to fight in June against Bara Morella of 2020, and my eyes ended up getting messed up. Didn't know about it until 2 days before the fight, since it was short notice as well. And then finally got to make my debut in October of 2020. And it's been a heck of a ride. You know, I fought top 15 opponents. I got thrown right into the fire, and I wouldn't have had it any other way. I was really happy with some of my performances coming up the chain. Of course, the decision loss against Macy, I'm still a little bitter about, but hope that rematch happens sometime, even though she doesn't seem to want it. And yeah, the next 5 fights, I just want to win a little bit more than I have in these first 5, and hopefully in front of fans in a very dominant performance fashion.
You know, so you answered my question. You wouldn't have it any other way, but do you watch Tough? I know you had one opponent, Brogan, who is on Tough, and I was just wondering, well, yeah, I guess you answered the question. You wouldn't have wanted to go through Tough, or was there something that's appealing about it at all?
Tough is obviously like great for exposure and stuff. One, I'm a fairly big flyweight, even though I'm short, and those weight cuts are rough, but I think it would have been a fun experience. I tried to get on the Tough when it was the first time that they had 125ers, and I was too young. I think I didn't make 2 out of the 3 qualifications. I had a winning record, but I only had like 2 or 3 fights, which at the time I think they asked for 4, and I wasn't 21 and they would not let me in. But I figured I'd throw my name in the hat because at least they had to call me and tell me no. Right?
Yeah.
Miranda, right now you have a little bit of momentum. How does that feel? You know, do you feel it carry over, or do you just kind of take it fight by fight?
You know, I don't really feed into the momentum, right? I know how good I am. I'm confident in my skills. I know kind of where I stand in the division from training with these high-level girls and from fighting these high-level girls. And so 1 win, 1 loss doesn't really bug me as a whole. Of course, those 2 losses in a row were really tough for me. It was the first time in my career that had happened. But in my mind, I still don't see the Barber fight as an actual loss. And the win against Sabina, for me, I saw it as another paycheck getting my way to the top.
This fight here is going to be in August, which kind of leaves a little bit of a cushion there between the end of the year. I know a lot of fighters like to stay away from the holidays and all that. How do you feel? Do you feel like a win, you know, whatever happens here in this fight, would you like to get one more in before the end of the year?
Absolutely. You know, I'd love it for this to be that Molly McCann fight and for us to fight at the Madison Square Garden or even before that. You know, I'm ready to go right afterwards. I have a couple seminars that I like teaching and going and visiting my family in Missouri and stuff after my fights, taking about 2 weeks, not off. You know, people say 2 weeks off. I train during the week. I just travel on the weekends usually and train no matter where I'm traveling to. But I would like to get a couple seminars in right after my fight, and then it's right back to it. I could fight in 3 weeks afterwards. I'd be happy.
To be clear, with Molly McCann, is that an anytime, any place? Like, you really, really like that fight no matter where they have?
Yeah, put it in her hometown. They like the UK card. That's fine by me. Let me beat her butt in front of all of her fans.
Miranda, one more from me. I just want to know, how do you – I read a post from you today that I found really, really interesting about how you grew up and the things you did, you know, farm work and all that. How do you balance that, your career that you have now that asks so much time from you? And then just I think about – I don't know if you know this, but George and I are related. We're brothers. And I think about our childhood and what we did growing up. Like, how do you mix having fun and growing up, but at the same time being immersed in this business and becoming the best mixed martial artist you can be?
I think you have to learn to have fun on the journey. You know, I'm not a person who takes personal pleasure in doing vacations and stuff like that. I get to travel a lot. Everybody on Instagram and stuff sees the pictures of me smiling, having fun traveling. But the reality is every time I travel, I'm going to teach a seminar, or I'm going to train or commentate. Like, I'm always working while I'm doing it. And right now isn't the time for me to have a pleasurable life or a huge quality of life. I live well and I try to, have fun in the journey, but I'm not going to waste money or time by going out and partying or doing those kind of things. That's my point of view on it. I would rather save up for the future to where, when I want to have children or I want to stay at home, I don't have to work. I get to be free by having my own time and my own career when I want it and how I want it.
Miranda, I'd read an interview about, I think May of 21, and in there it said you were studying for your PhD. Is that still ongoing?
Unfortunately not. My graduate school actually gave me an ultimatum of you can either continue your PhD or you can continue MMA. And I plan on blasting them as soon as I get done with that master's that they've drug out now for me. It seemed very discriminatory at the time. Thought about pursuing legal action, and I figured by the end of it, I'd just be so ticked off I wouldn't even have an interest in pursuing it anymore. So I haven't. I'm finishing my thesis and calling it good. Many people don't know, but I actually work as a contracted statistician for Hershey, the chocolate company. And so I do that part-time during the weeks, and that's my job on the side. And so I have something to always go back to. And people are like, well, are you prioritizing fighting? And I'm like, I do that, and I fight and I train, right? And I have other little business ventures I try. And in my mind, I'm like, 2 or 3 of these will take off and the rest can just fall. I'm the biggest quitter you'll ever meet, right? I start something new and then I quit it if it doesn't work out and go after something else that's going to help me succeed. And so the work stuff is just a background, right? You have all these fighters who they retire or they get hurt and they have nowhere else to turn to. They have nothing else to go with their life. And I plan on having the education and background to where anytime I wanted, I could quit this sport and go have a 6-figure job, no problem, like today if I decided to. And so that makes it a choice for me to fight. It makes it to where I have a little bit more freedom when I go into the cage. I'm not risking absolutely everything. My dad had a good quote that he did on an interview with Will Harris for Fighter Anatomy. And he said, people succeed in 2 different ways. They either succeed out of desperation or inspiration. And I've been proud enough to say that I get to fight out of inspiration. I'm not so desperate that I have to.
Mm-hmm. Love that. So thank you for opening up about that.
Yeah.
And you did say there could be legal ramifications going forward, but I did want to ask, it seems strange. I never pursued school to the levels that you did, but why would school interfere with or try to interfere with you, whatever it is that you do on the side, which I guess you're a prize fighter?
At the end of the day, I think people can have jealousy. And I think even with professors, whether we see them as adults or good examples or not, I think at the end of the day, we didn't get to have free time when we were in grad school. How are you finding all this time? It doesn't seem like you're prioritizing school or your studies. And we have a problem with that, even though I was doing just fine in my classes and keeping up with everything beyond most of the other students. So at the end of the day, I don't really know. I just have my speculations, and maybe I'll never know, but it's fine by me. Honestly, I think God is there, like helping drive my decisions. And I think it's one of the best things that ever happened. It allowed me to move to Colorado 1 year earlier, helped me get better training, a better gym. I got to move wherever I wanted to in the whole United States to train at the best gym that I wanted to. And I chose here, and it's paying off. I love this place, and I plan on staying here until I'm done with my career.
That professor deserves an elbow for that comment. That is
professors. There's a whole committee that decided it, unfortunately.
Like, seriously, I almost want to say if the check clears, what do you care? Teach, and she'll learn, and that's it. But
and I was teaching for them. And a big slap to the face that I think's funny is I actually got the award for being the best teacher student in the class that year, and I was like, cool, I don't care. Right?
Yeah.
So
a few days ago when Goes told me we were going to interview you, I thought to myself, okay, she's probably heard all the Maverick jokes there can be, especially when you first started in the sport. But then the movie comes out, and I'm sure they've either doubled or tripled. Is she sick of it? But then I started looking at Twitter and all that. I come to your website, and I noticed that I went straight to your shop, and right away I saw you there, posing with, the T-shirt, and it says
Yeah.
Top Gun. So I
Yeah,
guess
the funny part was that was before they ever even announced they were making a second one is when I made those shirts. I've always been kind of a fan of the corny All-American show, right?
Yeah.
And the second one's just as corny, but it's a classic. So.
Have you seen it? The second one,
Yep.
the one that just came out? What'd you
Yeah,
think?
I saw it. I am impressed by the videography, to say the least, of the actual scenes of them flying. That was the most impressive part.
Yeah. And do you see the jokes and memes and stuff on Twitter when you are fighting, or
all the time? There's always, I walk out now with the Top Gun anthem. That's my song. I wore the sunglasses and American flag behind me last time. They didn't show it on ESPN 3 times in a row now for me, which just ticks me off, but whatever, I'll get there eventually. At first I thought it might be like a religion thing. I was walking out to a very openly Christian song, and then I walked out with Top Gun and same thing. So maybe it was just they didn't want to show mine. I don't know.
Yeah, they should. I mean, especially now, like it just pops. You know what I mean? By the way, I got a question for you on the new one. Shouldn't Goose's son have been Ryan Gosling? Maybe.
Maybe so. I thought they did a good job of making him look like it, though. I thought they did a good job. So I don't know. I'm not going to get into that part of it. But I cracked that joke good together. I don't even like Tom Cruise all that much as a person, but as an actor, he did a good job in that movie and many of his others.
Yeah, I cracked that joke a few times. You're the first one that's laughed, but thank you for
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Feelings. But yeah, it's pretty cool when you fight and people, they have Tom Cruise putting on the glasses and stuff like that.
Yep.
So I'm glad you do enjoy it. I think it's tremendous, especially this summer. It's turned out to really, really be a blockbuster.
Yeah, for sure.
I know you.
I don't know if you know who Stephen Amell is, but he's the actor that plays in Arrow, plays Green Arrow in one of those shows. Mm-hmm. And he named his daughter Maverick, so he's a fan, which is exciting.
Nice.
Oh, very cool. Yeah. Well, listen, you got 3 more workouts happening today. Would you say you're on 4 out of 5, right, for today?
Yeah, 4 out of 5. So I got 1 left.
Yeah. So thank you so much. We took up enough of your time, but it was really, really fun. And good luck with training, whatever's left. And, of course, safe travels to Salt Lake City. Won't be too far for you. And be ready for that altitude. You know about it, right? Like 5,500 feet. But you're there. So.
I mean, I'm in Denver, so I think I'm pretty good.
Yeah, so you're good. And it's going to be a fun card. Mm-hmm. Thank you again.
Yeah, of course. I'm looking forward to it. Thank you.